Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, we're going to be taking a overview at the Bitcoin mining stocks, seeing what the price action shows us. And starting off for today, let's just take a look at the crypto fear and greed. And surprisingly, we're still in extreme greed, even though we've had a bit of a sell off this week, still up there above 75. However, something I will note is as you take a look at the fear and greed over the last year, you can see we're in this minor downtrend here, and you'll notice how fear sort of spikes down at these different points. So I'm wondering if we're going to get another spike down before going back up again. If we take a look at the macro chart all the way back to early 2018, you can see that we've been in this uptrend of greed ever since the middle of 2022. The true bottom of this last Bitcoin cycle, it was in November of 22, so it was a little bit later than the bottom, right around here. And we haven't been this high recently in greed since two other times. This time in here, December 2020, that's when Bitcoin was breaking above its former all time highs set in late 2017. This was not the true top. The true top was down here. So, again, it's kind of a leading indicator. I like how there was some accumulation up here. And then we were also up this high in greed when we had this mid-cycle top in 2019. So I'll show you what that looks like. This was the mid-cycle top right here, and December 2020, right over here is Bitcoin was breaking to new all-time highs in there. So we have just broken past these all-time highs set in November of 21 very recently, but have now come back down. Just real quickly with the rainbow chart, something I've noted, each halving, we have gone up a buy signal or a buy zone, I should say. This is on blockchaincenter.net. Second halving, we are in the buy zone. Third halving, this accumulate zone. Fourth halving, we're in this still cheap zone that it has up here. And the fourth halving is supposed to be around the 19th of April, something like that. And you can see the price some predicted to be somewhere between 52.5 and 69,000. So I've been talking about this for a while. It'll be interesting to see if Bitcoin is there. As far as stock fear and greed, because Bitcoin miners are stocks, CNN has us as greed under 60. We haven't been here in a while, under the 60 level. And Pi vesting, I like this site more. It has us under the 70s and 68. So things came down a bit. Now, going over to Bitcoin and then finally the mining stocks. As you can see, Bitcoin, now I have Heikin-Ashi candles up, which are a little bit different than your regular candles that you see. And this really hasn't closed solidly above prior all-time highs, even though we have wicked above. And you can see the wicks kind of forming this downtrend here. So I do want to see the body of the candle close above and wick above, and that would make me personally feel very bullish. But something else I'll say, guys, is look, we don't have any red weekly candles yet on the Heikin-Ashi. So this doesn't feel as bad of a quote unquote bear market as some people might say. We had these 20% drawdowns here, 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 and then most recently, if we measure the top of this wick down to there, 18%, so kind of close. So maybe we got our drawdown with really no red close on the Heikin-Ashi. But overall, I'm not feeling too bearish yet. We still may come down and hit some of these moving averages on the weekly. You can see we have the 10 weekly, and if we go to the daily, you can see that we're somewhat toying with this 50 daily moving average right here. So Bitcoin on the daily does have this green candle, and it has to get back above this above the 10 daily moving average, as well as the prior all-time high. Those are resistance now. So if it comes down to the 50, don't be surprised. It would still technically be a higher low that may be shooting back off. But anyways, let's get into the miner stocks. It's important to take a look at Bitcoin because the miner stocks follow them so well. And by the way, before I even talk more about the miners here. Going back to the halving, because that is coming up. I've seen two bits of news articles coming out. Every time things are kind of bearish, I see articles saying that each time we have a halving, half the amount of Bitcoin gets mined, ergo, there's going to be half the amount of profits, which in prior cycles it's just not true. So take from that what you will. Maybe one day that will become true. When things are bullish, I see news articles talking about how because there's half the amount being mined, that will create a supply crunch and spike demand. Okay, sure, maybe, why not? So just try not to buy into those articles too much. Take them with a grain of salt. Really, what I'm doing here is taking a look at the different miners, and when you do your research, which is totally up to you, if you like a miner, and I go over it on my channel, I'm trying to see where we can get more value for that Bitcoin mining stock so you can reap the rewards of it with all your hard-earned money. Buying it when it is down here, when the markets are being flooded out, when there's fear, so you can then sell when prices, of course, higher. So anyways, let's take a look at Marathon Digital Holdings. Zoom out. You can see here on the weekly, we've had a sell signal, and we have moved down from that sell signal, well, down as much as 30%. Right now, comfortably at 20%. Actually, it says it's at 1902 right there. So 1902, I'm looking at the right side of the screen, by the way. 1902 would put us at around, I was there, 25%. So yeah, right now it's down. I don't like to buy when things are just red, even though it's a better deal. I do like to see confirmation. When you take a look at the weekly, okay, do we have any sort of structure right now to say that maybe this is a decent time to buy? Well, you have these candles back here that maybe there's some support. You have the 20-week moving average that is sitting comfortably on, and we've only wicked underneath it, kind of down to that 50 daily, or not, sorry, 50 weekly moving average, as well as you have this 0.5 fib structure and some price structure back here. If I don't see the turnaround in the candles quite yet, I can zoom in on the daily. And do we see any green, any turnaround? Not as much. Excuse me. You got the 100 daily moving average. You can see our candles are below it. Now, it got below it back here and then started to come back up. So hanging on by a thread, the top of this candle kind of looks like a fish hook, just holding on for dear life. And it's pulled up, came back up, came back down, and yeah, I'd be watching this level, this $17 level. And again, if we took a look at the 50, that's right under 17. So should things continue to be negative, possibly take a look at 17. But again, I want to see turnaround with some of the candles as far as them turning green, getting our buy signals. And if you don't see it on the weekly and you're trying to get in front of it, you can look for it on the daily and see if a lot of green's coming in, and maybe you can catch it. So I don't like to catch falling knives. I do want to see structure as far as fibs, moving averages, and candles. Those are three key things that I look at right there. So that's what we got for Marathon. And let's next go over to Riot. And Riot, I didn't talk about the market cap with Marathon. I think it's around like 5-6 billion. Riot, a little bit under 3 billion. And with Riot, what do we got here? So zooming out a little bit on the daily, you can see here, man, daily's not looking good. It's gone under this fib. It's gone under this ascending trend line. You can see where we kept tapping it. And guys, something important to note with trend lines, I say this a lot in my videos. Trend lines are good for as long as they're good for, until they're not. So going over to the weekly, do we see anything? Well, Riot, this is just frankly not looking too good in my opinion. The one thing that I will say looks somewhat promising a little bit, you can see this is where the body of our candle is, and it's staying above this fib line that is the 382. So that right there, Not the worst. Yes, we got a wick underneath there, but the candle is staying above that fib line, so that's good. However, you got all these moving averages that are now resistance. So I would like to see Riot break back through. You can see the last couple times when we had turnarounds, it did it in a big way. I mean, we were wicked as low as the high eights down to the low 11s, and then here, my God, the 10s to just under 15. So it's a big range. Again, if you're trying to front run it and catch it, maybe you can look at the daily, see if the candles start to form somewhat of a base, turn green, get a green buy signal. And there's a couple different buy sell signals. This 1020 moving average crossover with Heikin-Ashi signals is the one I use. It's more of a front running indicator. If you want more of a lagging confirming indicator, there's another one called UT bot alerts. That is another one that you won't get faked out as much with that one. So those are the two I use. And of course, right now I have the moving averages on. Anytime we're going down, good time to throw on your moving averages. Good time to put on your fibs. And if you're wondering how I do the fibs, when we're going down, you draw from the high with the fib, which is this guy right here. You draw from the high to the low, stretch it out, and then make sure that you have your trading view scale on log, and then you go into settings, and this is when we're between the prior high and low. Put your fibs based on log scale. Okay, this is good for when we are between here. When we go above, I take this off log and I tend to find good prices of where to possibly sell if I am looking to take profit. So, could you buy, let's get back to this. Could you buy Riot right here? Well, you can see we had a lot of structure back here and the candles staying at this level. I wouldn't personally buy yet. I would wait for some green, wait for some buy signals, wait for some turnaround. But if you did, I wouldn't blame you. However, it is always possible things get worse and we just dump down to here, somewhere around the 7 level. So if we don't get a turnaround soon, I hear people talking about the eclipse being bullish for some reason. Maybe, sure, why not? We'll see. But if we don't get a turnaround soon, then, it's possible we come down to the 7 level. So just something to keep an eye on for Riot. CleanSpark. Excuse me. All right, CleanSpark. One of the stronger looking Bitcoin miner charts, and just recently, man, finally got a weekly sell signal. Got up here to the 786 at around 21 and has come down. So you can see on the weekly, it has this 10 weekly moving average. This 786 was somewhat resistance. If we did come back down, I do like how the 20 is near the 618 and this former price structure. So that might be an area to look for should this weekly sell-off be pretty big. Last time we got a weekly sell-off, we came down something like 35%. So, if we came down something similar like 35, look at that. Right around these 20s, 20 weekly moving average and the 618 fib. So if we go to the daily, what do we notice? On the daily, we are at the 50-day moving average right now, forming somewhat of a base. We're getting underneath it. However, if this starts to turn green, look at all this price structure back here. If you take a look at this on the daily, that kind of looks like healthy accumulation, in my opinion. Now, right here, it's more red than we've been really since this area. So if you're waiting for some confirmation of things going positive, throw on one of the buy signals and see if we can start to get a turnaround or go above. If we start to leak really far under this 50-day moving average, you get down to the 100, you can see here, we have that 618 and this moving average, the fib, max bearish right now. I'm taking a look at this mid 12, high $12 range. But if you bought some right here, I wouldn't yet, but if you did, I'd wait for a little bit more confirmation, at least on the daily, to say that it's green and it's going back up again. But it's done this once, twice, 3 times before. Is it going to do it again, or are we going to dump? That's up to you to decide. But yeah, one of the things I take a look at, guys, for any stock, I just take a look at the last year and I'm like, well, where are we? Are we at relative yearly highs or yearly lows? And if we're at yearly highs, I'm not as keen into jumping in because then I feel like I'm chasing. That's when I at least go to the weekly. And even the weekly, yeah, we had these spikes back here, but even the weekly, if we take a look at the last year, we just got a sell signal. And I want to be patient, let it hit some of those longer moving averages, the 100, the 50 at the very least, and then buy the turnaround. That's me personally trying to be more of a long-term patient investor rather than just a trader because, if you get too sucked up into the greed, the hype, the pumps, that's when you're going to be left holding bags for longer than you want. Next, let's go over to Cipher Mining. Cipher has a $1.23 billion market cap on the weekly, looking a little better. Now we do have this long leg doji, which can go violently one way or the other. Judging by the rest of the markets, I would guess it would go down. Now, what do we see here? We see that when we have gone down these 3 times, we went down to this 0.5 fib right here. We have structure all the way back here. But then as we came down these last 2 times, you notice in the middle of the candle bodies, as well as the wicks, it was kind of honoring this 50-week moving average. Okay, we have come up a bit, and we are at this fib, which I believe is the 618. Yeah, 618, and we have, I believe that's the 100. That's 100 moving average. It is above, because we went way down below and then above again. So we have the 618. We have the 100. If price came down to here at the 3.7 mark, I think it could, and that'd be a great level to get into. Should we get confirmation? We might even wick down as low as this 50-week moving average, somewhere around 320. If we go to the daily, what do we notice? Okay, this is a little different. So coming back down to this fib again, that's 618, and we are staying above the 50-day moving average. Right now the candles are in love with the 20. So the daily sell-off, we've already gone down about 20-ish%. So yeah, somewhere right in here, I would say, possible areas to buy. You can see on the daily, it even came down to the 200 quite comfortably once, twice, 3 times. So if you want to be super patient, you really like Cipher, maybe you get some around the 100 and see if you can catch a price at the low $3. Next, let's take a look at Wolf. TeraWulf, and we're on the daily right now. Stuck between the 10 and the 20. And yeah, you can see last time we had a big sell-off. We got under that 200 there for a bit. And so daily has a sell-off. So you would guess or wonder that, we'd at least get down to somewhere like the 50-day moving average market cap. A little over 700 million. Let's zoom out to the weekly. What do we got on the weekly? So still green. That's good. Still above the 10. But again, we have this kind of symmetrical candle here that, if I were to guess based off what Bitcoin's been doing, what some of the bigger altcoins and miners are doing, that, I wouldn't be surprised if it came down a bit. So, just taking a look at the last couple times we got weekly sell signals, we went down up to 25%, but, just measuring the candles, like 12% to 20% right in there. The body right here of the candles, 36% to 45%. So if all of a sudden things turn red, 12-ish% puts us right around that 50-week moving average. Excuse me. And if we got down a bit more, somewhere like 20, we would be in here at the $1.80 level. A big dump herself, 40% would put us at a $1.50. Will we get there? I don't know, because you can see these wicks. We are still the lower ends of the wicks. We are still making higher lows, So maybe something around a buck 80. Again, going over to the daily, does a buck 80 put us anywhere? Well, buck 90 is right near these moving averages. We got the 200, the 100, the 50. The 50 is at 210. So, if you really like Wolf, you could set a buy order if you see some structure and some possible turnaround to get in. But again, guys, take a look at this right here. You can get a buy signal and then things still come down more. So just keep that in mind. Technical analysis is not everything. You shouldn't base your investment strategies purely off technical analysis. It's another tool in our toolbox to aid us in trying to find more value for our investments. That's what TA is. So next, let's go to woo, excuse me. Sorry, guys. You can see why I wasn't online as much recently. So, Bit Digital, BTBT. Let's zoom out on the weekly. What do we notice? Well, we got this fib that we are on right now, the 3A2, and the weekly. We are getting a slight turnaround. Some weekly buy signals. It is promising. Maybe we're going to have some accumulation and price structure like we did back here. But the thing that's concerning to me right now is you can see these moving averages, how they have acted more as resistance rather than support. And so I do want to see Bit Digital treat these moving averages as support instead and turn things around. Get up here to the 0.5 and at least start bouncing off some of these major moving averages. If we go to the daily, you can see that's looking pretty bearish to me. Now, macro-wise, we still have this higher low. I don't want to see the daily get down below this $2 mark. If it does, not good. And then we have to go all the way back here to September 23. Gets below that buck 97 level and then look out below. So right now, not a cause for concern yet. But man, this is looking pretty bearish. We got the moving averages as resistance on the daily. We do have some price structure here and here and here. So yeah, I wouldn't be buying this unless I got some stronger signals on a turnaround. Now, we do have this recent weekly buy signal. I would wait personally, because to me this is looking pretty bearish. Now, if you're just going to trust the fib, the weekly buy signal, sure, you could and possibly invest a little bit. I wouldn't be going ham with it though, especially daily. Still looks like it's got to play out. Again, you can try to front run, see if you can catch the daily as it starts to turn green, and if it starts to turn green and it looks like we're still creating higher lows, getting back up to this fib, then sure. So that's what we got for Bit Digital, Bit Farms. Okay, we're here on the daily. That's telling a good story. On the weekly, this is what I was talking about, kind of with the last one, Bit Digital, Bit Farms, by the way, 650 million market cap. But something I like with Bit Farms is, here we have this 0.5 fib structure. You can see it honoring this. I believe that's a 100-week moving average. Okay, it's in love with it right now, and we're forming a base with these candles right here. So that's good. I want to see a turnaround, some green to possibly signal we're going higher. What do we got down here? Well, you can see on the daily, we're starting to chop up and down, treating this, I believe that's the 100 moving average as resistance. So it's looking to get back above it. So having a couple buy signals recently, if you're looking to be aggressive, and I do mean aggressive, then you might be looking at buying now. However, things are still red as far as the daily. We did get a sell signal, so it is possible we come down to this 200 daily moving average, something around 2. But, let's say maybe your train of thought is, well, it seems to be holding this structure right in there on the daily, and then the weekly, it's holding structure above the actually, that is the 200. That's the 200 weekly moving average. It's holding strong structure there. I'm going to take a stab at it. Sure. I wouldn't fault you. Maybe you're trying to get in front of this right here, buy signal, and as far as on the daily, we are sort of accumulating and chopping around. So you are taking a risk there. But if you did bought, frankly, I wouldn't totally blame you as far as for Bitfarms is concerned. Two more. Let's take a look at Iris Energy Limited. And then I was going to, instead of doing HUT, because no one really seems to care about that one, I'll cover Cores. I believe it's Core Scientific. Iris. We have a weekly buy signal. It's curious to me. I didn't prepare by looking ahead at all of these before I did the video. I want to look at them for the first time with you guys, so you're getting an authentic reaction. But what's already interesting to me is some of these smaller caps are showing more of a bullish turnaround than the larger caps. Maybe that's trying to tell us something. Who knows? Maybe it's a fake out. Market cap 630 million. Right now it's at 580. We have this 0.5 fib. We have the 50 weekly moving average. We have a buy signal. Those are all good things. A higher low. A lot of good things. Let's go to the daily. What do we got on the daily? Likes that 50-day moving average. However, it has a sell signal. I like seeing this 100 daily moving average and the fib right here. If it does break through that 50, then you could be taking a look at 540, 534 as possible entries. You can see when we get under the 200, it tends to be a rare time to buy. It can be pretty bad. We had this fib support back here, and here you could say we had some former price structure support. So, if you did buy, we're able to get some. Maybe this daily sell signal plays out, and you're able to get some over here. Great. Now, something to note, I'm sure you guys are asking, well, we have a weekly buy signal if we have a daily sell signal. Okay, you can see here, let's just go back 1 week. Okay, March 25th. And then let's go to the daily and show you where March 25th was. That was back right here. Okay, so this is new, and this is front running what the weekly signal is showing us. Okay, so I would want to see this play out, see what it does. You can see sometimes, hey, we only get it for a couple days or a day, and then boom, we turn around. That's possible. Or most of the time, you can see it tends to go down for a while when we get those daily sell signals. So take your pick, maybe give it a week and see if you're willing to be patient. But I would be watching this 540 level. We got fib, long moving averages. That's what I'm taking a look at. Lastly, cores. Someone asked me to look at it last time, and let's see what we got with cores. Let's zoom out on the weekly. And okay, something right here I will already tell you that I don't like or I'm not a fan of. I've talked about this with altcoins, and people are not a fan of this, but I'm just going to say it. I've been in crypto since 2017, since here. And I've been in both of these cycle runs. Whenever I see new altcoins or new miners, new anything crypto related coming out near the end of the bull run, or when we have already broken all-time highs, I have stayed away from those assets like the plague, because too often I see them turn into falling knives. Now, you can take a look at the date down here. January 22nd. That was near the ETF approval. And we made new all-time highs not too much later. So me personally, just with that narrative, I would be staying away from any of the new stuff. I know people don't like to hear it. Maybe you've done your research. Things sound great. Guys, I'm telling you, who knows? Maybe this one's different, but I've done research on different things, crypto, the last couple cycles, and even when the research looks good, it can still dump. And there's even a couple of the miners that would show that as well. So, going to the daily, you can see here, I want to give you some analysis. We do have some accumulation. Moving averages really don't tell us too much because it hasn't been around forever. So that's another thing. It makes it hard to chart for that reason. We can pull up the RSI. You see, guys, and this is where it kind of gets tricky. The RSI, even on the daily, okay, we're in the middle. It has a $1.37 billion market cap. So is this gonna turn into the next marathon, the next riot? I don't know, but I want to show you something. I believe, is it Cipher? I want to go. There's one of these that I could prove my point on. Let's get rid of this. Yeah. Okay. Take a look at this with Cipher. Okay. Look at when it came out. See that date at the bottom? I talked about this in the beginning of the video. December of 2020. That's when Bitcoin was just making new all-time highs from the 2017 peak. And you can see here, sure, you could have got Cipher at something around 10 bucks. And maybe you sold the top here, 13 bucks. Maybe you sold the top here, 15 bucks. Okay. What did it do after that? Now, the very top of Bitcoin in 21 was in November. Okay. But let's give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you bought in here at a little under 10 bucks. You sold it 15, you got 50% profit. Okay, whatever. It went from 15 bucks all the way down to 40 cents. Guys, I've seen this with so many altcoins and miners. When they come out around the new all-time highs, I do not touch them. I've seen this with altcoins from 2017, altcoins and miners from 2021. I'm just telling you, I cannot think of a single example where it worked out that cycle. Okay. Now, next cycle, sure, I am willing to be more open-minded to it. That, something like Cipher, the chart's looking strong, great. If it did get above prior all-time highs, I would not be shocked. But as far as that cycle, let's pretend we are in 2021 right now, and we are taking a look at this. Okay. You might get duped into buying something like this. Same with other altcoins. So for me, when I'm trying to give myself an advantage as far as price action is concerned, you and I, we've done our research on the altcoins, the miners we like, the ones we believe in. Okay, that's good. We've done our research. We believe in the company we want to buy. Okay, and now we go to the charts and we want to give ourselves even more of a competitive advantage. When we don't have a lot of chart to look at, that's not helping us. And you can see the same with IPOs. A lot of IPOs, pretty much all of them, I don't touch within the first year or two, because a lot of the initial public offerings on stocks, they'll do great at first, maybe for the first year, run up like crazy, and then they just dump. They just dump completely. I've seen that with a lot. I mean, you can go to, I believe, Rivian's one, for example, where we can see this chart. Yeah, you could. I know it's a different example. It's a car company, but look at this: November of 21, peak of that was when Bitcoin was peaked. That's kind of funny that correlates. Doesn't mean it means anything. But look at this. This was the IPO. Shot up to 170, and what's Rivian done ever since? I see that with a lot of stocks that after the IPO, altcoins, cryptos, they're not immune to this IPO phenomena that even stocks go through. When something IPOs, even if I love it, something like Facebook and Google, I still wait a year or two to try to give myself a little bit more of a competitive advantage. So just something to consider. If you've done your research, hey, maybe Core Scientific is different. It's going to go to the moon. Sure, why not? But all I'm saying is, if I were to invest in something that's brand new in crypto after we just made all-time highs, like this year, okay, I have to absolutely be in love with that stock, with that miner, with that altcoin. And frankly, I've seen the good news before, and every time I've seen it turn out to be junk. So sorry if that's not the answer you're looking for, but I'm gonna tell you honestly, what I've experienced. At the same time, though, I do have to acknowledge that's my bias, and something I say at the beginning or show at the beginning of every video. Analysis market data is not enough to predict future results. Something can always be different. Okay, so even trying to check my own bias here, something can always be different. Sure, it's possible. I'm open-minded to it. However, I've seen how this story's played out. So me personally, not financial advice for you, I wouldn't be touching it. But who knows? Maybe it turns into something big. If you like it, you love it, you believe in it, heck, look for, hey, I've shown you how to chart and look for good value areas to buy. Take your own risks. And if you do, I wish you the best and hope it does well for you. Anyways, guys, that's all we got for the Bitcoin mining stocks today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If there are any stocks or cryptos, altcoins you want me to take a look at, please let me know in the comments below. I take a look at a lot of the altcoins available on Robinhood and Coinbase, and I'll probably be doing a video on the stock market, the Mag 7 stocks, as well as earnings reports for this week. So hope everyone's doing well. Take care.